Hello, my name is Natalie Freeman and I am the UEA Award Officer. This is a video about career management progress submissions to help award students to understand why we ask you to make these submissions and also how to go about them. So why do we ask you to do a career management progress reflection? So as you know, most of your career management activities actually automatically count towards your award, particularly if you have taken part in a workshop or attended an event that Career Central have organised. Because of that, we do like you to reflect on these activities as well and get feedback from one of our careers advisors. So that is what the career management progress reflection is all about. So this is what I'm going to talk about during this short video. First of all, what is the purpose of the career management progress form? And I think I've just touched on that a little bit, but I will be talking about that in more detail. We're going to look at how to reflect on your career management events and the kind of things we would like you to include. You're going to have a look at an example career management progress reflection and have a go at looking at the positives, but also some areas that they might want to tweak. And then obviously you can use this video whenever you like, rewind it, go back to certain points and use it to support you when you are writing your career management progress reflection. So before I go through what you need to include in your career management progress reflection, I just wanted to talk very shortly about why we should bother doing this, because taking time to reflect on what we do feels like such a luxury when you're all so busy, doesn't it? You are studying, you are doing all of these things outside of your studies that you are contributing towards your award, and you're completing the award as well. So you're incredibly busy individuals, but taking that time to reflect on what you're doing is so important. This quote by Atkins Murphy Bond al. is really, really succinct and a good way of describing why reflection is so important. I'm not going to read the whole things out because you can do that. But in a nutshell, they talk about reflection allowing you to consider deeply something that you might otherwise have just brushed over. And it allows us to learn from what we're doing and make more informed next steps. So a lot of the activities that you might reflect on as part of your award might be something that you may have discounted or not thought about if you weren't taking part in the award. And this reflective process really helps you to link it to the skills that you've developed through taking part and helps you to showcase that then to employers later on. So how do you go about structuring your career management progress reflection? So first of all, as I've said, reflecting on yourself and your experiences really is a key skill for employability, recruitment, career. We have people who I work with who have been 30 years into their career and they're still reflecting on what they do, and that makes them a really, really good employee and a really good practitioner. So this doesn't end when you complete your degree, this reflective process. It certainly doesn't end at the beginning of your career. This is career long and lifelong. So honing this skill of reflection now is an incredibly valuable skill to have. So the first thing that we want you to include in your career management progress reflection is think about what was your situation before you took part in that workshop or attended that event. Was it that you had, no idea where your course might lead career-wise? You're really stuck. You're near the end of your degree perhaps, and you've spoken to an advisor and they said to you, do you know what, why don't you go to this careers fair or attend this workshop to really get that process started? It might be that you had quite a good idea as to the sector that you're interested in, but you're not particularly sure about the roles within that sector. So you went to one of our employer events that is geared specifically towards that sector to find out more about it. It might just be that you wanted to hone your general employability skills. So it might have been a CV workshop or a LinkedIn workshop. So that it would be really good to hear, what motivated you to attend that event or to take part in that activity. And that will be part of your context. Then the actions part of Carl. So what happened during the experience? It might be that you were quite active in the experience and you networked with lots of people. Who did you see? Who did you speak to? What kind of conversations took place? It might be that in a workshop you worked in a pair with somebody or in a small group and had to have a discussion about something. Or it might just be that you were quite passive in your experience and you were sitting listening to somebody else talk to you about their experiences. How do you feel about it? So what was the result of all of that was going on? Be honest here. This is the award. It isn't an interview or an application situation. You can be honest. If you feel that it wasn't particularly useful for you and the outcome that you wanted, do say that, because from that, we can talk about what you learnt. What will you do as a consequence of your experience? So it might be that you found the experience very valuable, but you learned so much from it that you now have a clearer idea as to the research you need to do next or the steps you need to take next. It might be that you didn't find it particularly useful or it wasn't quite what you thought it would be. So you might perhaps look for a different avenue, make an appointment with a careers advisor, have a look at what else Careers Central has to offer. It could be that you had a conversation with somebody from a certain sector. It's made you very interested in that sector. So you might now approach our mentoring team to ask them about getting a mentor to talk in more depth about what that sector entails, the kind of qualifications and experience that you need, and the kind of roles within that. What is a day in the life like, in that role? So have a real think about what you might do next and include that in your reflection. I have just mentioned as we went through those points, how we use Carl, and just a reminder that we do expect you to still use Carl in your career management reflections. So describe the context, why did you attend that event or take part in that workshop? What had happened beforehand that made you choose that? What were the actions you took? So what actually happened? What was the result? Was it useful for you? Was it not useful? And then what did you learn from that? What are you going to do next? So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at an example of a career management progress reflection. And I would like you in a moment to pause the video and to write down some notes on, first of all, what you think is pretty positive about it. What have they done well there? But also, what might they need to add to it? If a careers advisor was looking at this example, they would probably ping it back to that person just to make some additions. What kind of things do you think the careers advisor might ask them to add? Okay, so at this point, pause the video, have a read through it, make some notes, and then when you're ready, unpause, and I will go through what I think my advice would be to the person who had written this reflection. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to have a really good look through this. And on the surface, it's not bad at all. They've made a really good start here. There are just a few bits and bobs that I think they could tweak or add to make it really, really good. So the first bit says, I decided to attend the Recruitment and Opportunities Fair on the recommendation of my advisor. Really good context there. So they've obviously had a chat with their advisor about where their course might lead, having a chat about, that kind of careers, future pathways element of their course. What they haven't done though, and what I would like to have known a bit more about, is they haven't been specific about what they said in that conversation. So what was it that happened in that conversation that led their advisor to tell them to attend the Recruitment and Opportunities Fair? I don't know here whether, they had lots of ideas as to the kind of sector or role they might want to go into, and their advisor said, hey, go to the ROF and speak to people just to kind of narrow it down a bit. It might have been the opposite. It might have been that they said, I really don't know where to start. I'm this far through my course. I really don't know what motivates me or what I want to do. So their advisor might have said, go to the ROF, have a chat with lots of people, get some initial ideas, and then come back to me and we can have a chat about that. So just be a little bit more specific there, okay? Then they've said there were many different people there from a variety of sectors, and it was a good opportunity for me to develop my networking skills. That's really good to hear that they felt that, their networking skills needed to be worked on. And it's worth me saying at this point that networking skills comes naturally to very few people. Okay, so just before big events like the Recruitment and Opportunities Fair, Career Central will often run a workshop to support you with that. And to teach you how to network. So do keep an eye out for those kind of events on My Career Central. Okay, so the next bit, while I was there, I spoke to people from the sectors that relate directly to my interests, and I gained some useful insights about the skills and qualities I need to display in order to be successful in those fields. Well, it's great to know that they did some networking and that they spoke to people from some sectors. What I would like to hear more about, though, and I don't know whether that's something you got on your notes, but hopefully you recognised here that, again, they haven't really been very specific. I'd love to know which sectors the people were from and relate directly to my interests. So what are your interests? I perhaps know, which subject you're studying, but what are you interested in within that? So I would have liked to have known the sectors. It says they gained some useful insights about the skills and qualities they need. I would love to know what those insights were, if they were really useful and interesting. Just a little bit more detail about what those insights were. Okay, to be, what do you need to do to be successful in those fields, and what were those fields? So just a little bit more specific detail there would have been great. And then lastly, I now plan to conduct more research on the specific roles in those sectors, and I'll make an appointment to discuss my future options with a careers advisor. So that's really great to hear that they've thought about their next steps. That's a really good first step there. What I would like to know more about, again, is the specifics. So I now plan to conduct more research on the specific roles in those sectors. How are they going to go about that? Are they going to use LinkedIn? Are they going to use prospects? Are they going to go to Career Central? And perhaps I know they're going to speak with a careers advisor. So are they going to ask them for help with their research? It might be that they're going to approach the mentoring team at Career Central and ask them to organise a mentor for them so that they can talk about specific roles more. So again, we don't need hundreds of additional words there, but we do need it to be a little bit more specific. But this was a really good start. It follows Carl. There's a good kind of precursor, why they attended, what they're going to do next. We just need some more of that specific detail. So hopefully you found it useful to have a look at that and to think about, what might I include just to improve it a bit more. Okay, well, I hope you found this video useful. You can use this video and look back at it whenever you're writing one of these career management progress reflections. One thing that I will say is that obviously at bronze, silver and gold levels, we do expect slightly more in-depth reflection as you progress. So at bronze level, very much as long as you're covering Carl and you cover those bullet points in, to some extent, then that's absolutely fine. At silver level, we will expect a little bit more in terms of specifics and more thought as to, what you've learnt and what you're going to do next. By gold, we really expect a nice thorough reflection. So nice thorough piece, at the beginning about why you attended that event or workshop, really looking back at your bronze and silver reflections and kind of linking it into those, because I learnt this in my bronze and silver events, I really decided to go ahead and do this, and to be a little bit more in depth with your reflection. On your workflow, you will find some bullet points at each level that will help you with what we expect in addition from the previous stage. So hopefully that will give you some good pointers there. What we find is that people naturally tend to be more in depth with their reflections as they go through the award, just because you learn it, as you go through and you develop that skill. But there is some help on your workflow with that too. So further support from us. UEA Award drop-in sessions will be happening from September once we can go back onto campus a little bit. So do keep an eye on My Career Central for the latest dates and times, because they may be chopping and changing a little bit. We're always here. We are year-round, the award team. So do book in a one-to-one chat with us if you would like, about anything to do with your award, not just the career management progress reflections. So we can always arrange a Teams chat with you. We also have our email address, which is award@uea.ac.uk. So please do ping us an email whenever you have a query as well. You can obviously make an appointment with one of our careers advisors. They offer quick query appointments, which are about 15 minutes long for those kind of quick initial conversations. If you do have an issue that will take more time to kind of pull apart and pick apart, then you will need to book a guidance appointment, but they will have a chat with you about that. And then we have a vast array of resources on My Career Central. So if you go onto My Career Central, look at the resources section on the top left, have a really good click through because there are so many wonderful resources there that can help you before you even approach one of us as well. I hope you found this video useful and I look forward to supporting you with the rest of your award.